They thought I was a broke dreamer building green huts. 12 years later, I own a private island, and they arrived in luxury cars I paid for. When my name hit the billionaire list, jaws dropped. But when the helicopter landed, what I revealed next left them speechless. I never meant to hide who I really was. Not forever, at least. But one choice led to another, and before I knew it, 12 years had passed, and my family still thought I was the struggling older sister, the dreamer who couldn't quite get her life together. They never saw the real me, the woman behind one of the fastest-growing ecotech companies in the country. I built everything in silence. And now, 3 days before the annual Reyes family reunion, that silence was about to break. It all started with a ping on my phone. I was sitting in my office in Austin, drinking my morning coffee and reviewing designs for a new housing prototype when the Tech Today alert popped up. Eco Visionary of the Year. How Elena Reyes quietly built a $2.7 billion green empire. My face was on the cover. My company, EcoVera, was now a national name. I stared at the headline for a long time. This was it. The moment I'd worked so hard for, and yet all I could think about was how my family would react. I hadn't told them anything. Not about the awards. Not about the private eco-island I bought near Key West. Not about the 1,000-plus sustainable homes we'd built. They still thought I was scraping by with freelance consulting jobs and idealistic projects.
My phone buzzed again.
This time it was my sister Zoe. "Is this for real?" The text read. "Elena, what is happening? Are you seriously a billionaire?" I didn't reply. Not yet. Zoe was the golden child. Always polished, always successful. She worked in marketing for some luxury fashion brand in Scottsdale and never missed a chance to remind everyone she was earning 6 figures by 28. She'd taken great pride in covering the bill whenever we went out. I let her, just like I let them all believe I needed the help. My assistant Tina walked in, holding a tablet. "Elena, we're getting flooded with interview requests. CNN, Wired, even Bloomberg wants a segment." I nodded, still staring out the window. The trees outside my Austin compound rustled in the wind, peaceful and green, just like the vision I had when I started all this. "Let them wait. We have something more important to prepare for." Tina tilted her head. "The family reunion?" I gave her a slow smile. "Exactly. It's time." For 12 years, I'd been waiting for the right moment. And this was it. The entire Reyes family reunion was planned to take place at a resort outside Miami. I was going to change everything. Call the venue. Tell them I'm buying out the resort and relocating the reunion to my island. Get the staff ready. NDAs, welcome packages, everything. Oh, and make sure everyone gets picked up in Bentleys. Tina blinked. All of them. All of them, I said. No exceptions. And cancel their flights. I want them flown in by my private helicopter fleet. Use the new ones. Yes, ma'am. She left the room quickly, used to my sudden pivots. I leaned back in my chair and opened the email from Tech Today again. There was something surreal about seeing your entire life's work summed up in a headline. But it didn't tell the full story. 12 years ago, I had just graduated from MIT. I came home full of hope and ambition, eager to share my idea for sustainable, smart homes powered by solar and recycled materials. It was new, maybe even strange, but I believed in it. I still remember the conversation at the dinner table. Solar panels and recycled wood? My father, Carlos, laughed. That's not a business, Mija. That's a hobby. Not if it's scaled right, I said. I just need seed funding, $250,000. I can get a prototype ready in 6 months. He shook his head, already waving me off. You should be using your degree in a real job.
Come work with me.
I'll make you VP in 2 years. Leave the dreams behind. My mother, Lucia, looked at me with worried eyes. Sweetheart, it's not that we don't believe in you.
But these things, they don't last.
Don't you want stability? Zoe didn't say much, just rolled her eyes. She was already climbing fast in her company and didn't think much of my green phase. And Uncle Manuel? He let out a snort. MIT or not, Real success comes from doing something practical, not building treehouses for grown-ups. That night, I packed my things and moved to East Austin. Shared a house with 3 strangers, worked freelance jobs to stay afloat, and put every spare dollar into the first prototype. Year 1 was hard. I lived on instant noodles and coffee. But I kept pushing. I found a small real estate firm that agreed to try my concept on a group of 10 homes. I undercharged, over-delivered, and signed a deal worth $120,000. Year 2, we built 30 homes. Then 80. By year 3, Ecovera had hit $4.2 million in revenue. But when I went home, I wore secondhand jeans and drove a beat-up Toyota. I didn't say a word. My father would pat me on the back and say, "Still trying, huh? Good. Keep pushing." And I'd smile. Always, Dad. Now, as I stared at the island blueprint spread across my desk, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Not pride. Not even excitement. Freedom. The secret I'd been carrying all these years was finally ready to be shared, but on my terms. I turned to Tina again. Make sure every guest room has a welcome folder. Include their missed investment offers.
And Tina?
Yes. On the helipad, I want my name spelled out in Ecolights. Make sure they can see it from the sky.
She grinned.
It's already done. And just like that, the countdown began. 3 days. In 3 days, my family would finally meet the real me. Not the Elena they thought they knew, the one who needed help, who never quite measured up. This time, I'd be the one at the head of the table. And they wouldn't see it coming. The morning of the reunion arrived faster than I expected. I stood at the edge of the helipad on my island, the sea breeze brushing against my face as the sound of distant blades grew louder. From above, the treetops spelled out my name in soft green lighting, Elena Reyes, powered, of course, by solar energy. It wasn't just a statement, it was a symbol. Every detail had meaning. This place represented everything I had built when no one believed in me. One by one, the sleek black Bentleys began arriving at the private terminal in Miami where my family would board the helicopters. They didn't know yet. As far as they were concerned, the reunion was still at the usual beach resort we went to every year. All they had was a cryptic message from me telling them to wait at a private lounge for transportation. I pictured their faces, especially my father's. He hated surprises. So did Uncle Manuel. Zoe probably loved the attention, though I could almost hear her complaining about not being given the itinerary. Tina stood beside me, holding her tablet. First chopper just left Miami. 5 minutes out. Perfect, I said, adjusting the collar of my linen shirt. You sure you want to do this all at once? She asked. It's a lot. I turned to her, calm and clear. I waited 12 years. I think they can handle 15 minutes. She gave a soft nod and walked off to oversee the arrivals. I stayed where I was, staring at the ocean, trying to remember the last time I'd felt this calm. Maybe it was the year we closed our first military contract for sustainable housing units. Or the moment my name hit the Forbes Next 100 list. But this felt different. Personal. The first helicopter appeared on the horizon, sleek and quiet. Custom-built for zero emissions, of course. As it lowered onto the pad, the blades kicked up a rush of wind. The doors slid open, and out stepped my parents, Zoe and Uncle Manuel, each one looking around with wide eyes and varying degrees of confusion. My mother's eyes landed on me first. Elena? Welcome, I said, smiling, arms open. What is this place? She asked, stepping forward cautiously. I thought we were going to a resort? I bought it, I said, and relocated the reunion here. I thought we could use a change. My father frowned, glancing around. You bought a resort? A private eco-island, actually, I corrected, gesturing behind me. All powered by sustainable energy. Zero waste. The entire infrastructure is self-sufficient. My company designed it. There was silence. Then Zoe let out a stunned laugh. Wait, your company? Uncle Manuel looked me over, squinting like he was trying to recognize me. What's going on here? Come inside, I said. There's a lot to show you. As we walked through the stone path toward the main resort building, they passed massive digital screens built into natural wooden frames, each one displaying a sustainable home design we developed. Sales numbers, community impact, photos from ribbon cuttings in cities around the country. All real. All mine. This is your work? My father asked quietly, staring at a video of me speaking at a green housing summit. I didn't answer. Not yet. Inside, the lobby opened into a warm, airy space with tall windows overlooking the ocean. Each family member had a designated suite already prepared. A welcome drink was handed to them as Tina distributed personalized folders. What's all this? Zoe asked, flipping through hers. Some light reading, I said calmly. Missed investment opportunities. Project summaries. Your annual income compared to what I make in a week. She gave me a sharp look, but said nothing. My mother sat down slowly on one of the leather lounge chairs. Elena, she said gently. You said you were doing okay, but this is something else. I never lied, I replied. You all just assumed I was struggling, and I didn't correct you. My father finally spoke. You mean to tell me you built this business behind our backs? All this time? You mean since you called it a hobby and refused to invest? I said, keeping my tone even.
Yes.
Since then. He rubbed his temples. I thought you needed help. And I needed space, I said. I wasn't going to beg for belief. Uncle Manuel stood off to the side, folder in hand. Your tech was just approved for military base housing? He asked. That's impressive. Thank you, I said. It was the first genuine compliment I'd heard from him in years. We gave them an hour to settle in. The rooms had floor-to-ceiling windows, bamboo walls, and were cooled by a geothermal system. In each suite, I had placed a framed photo from a moment when I was underestimated, graduation day, my first pitch meeting, the first rejected business plan. Just a subtle reminder. At sunset, we gathered in the dining hall. A long handcrafted table ran down the center of the room. The ceiling opened to the sky. And around us, every wall held framed articles, awards, and headlines, proof of what they'd missed while they were busy doubting. Dinner was served, locally sourced, gourmet, and plant-based. Conversation was quiet at first, everyone unsure of what to say. I broke the silence. 12 years ago, I had a vision, I said. Not just for a company, but for a different kind of future. You all told me it wasn't realistic, that it wouldn't last.
Zoe looked down.
My mother pressed her napkin to her lips. I don't blame you, I continued. Back then, it did sound crazy. But I believed in it. I believed in me. And I built this because I never stopped. My father cleared his throat. You could have told us. I tried. You didn't want to hear it. So I stopped telling and started showing. I looked around the table, meeting each of their eyes. And now you're here, not just to see what I built, but to understand it. Because this, I said, spreading my arms slightly, this is only the beginning. They were stunned, unsure of what to say. Good. Let them sit with it. The full presentation would come tomorrow. And that's when the real truth would land. The night sky above opened up to a sea of stars as we finished dinner. They lingered at the table longer than usual. For the first time, I could see something shifting in their faces. Recognition. And maybe, just maybe, respect. The morning sun spread a soft golden light across the island as I stood barefoot on the terrace of my villa, the ocean stretching endlessly ahead. The air was warm, quiet, peaceful. But inside me, everything was wide awake. This was the day they'd see it all, not just what I had built, but how I built it, why I kept it hidden, and what it really meant. It wasn't just about business. It was about belief. And not the kind you ask for, the kind you hold on to when no one else does. After breakfast, I asked everyone to meet me at the island's pavilion. It was open air, surrounded by palm trees and overlooking the sea. Simple, elegant, and completely powered by clean energy. I wanted them to feel the purpose behind everything. No marble floors, no chandeliers, just honest, beautiful design with a deeper intention. They came in slowly, curious but quieter than usual. Zoe walked in wearing a bright sundress and sunglasses, acting casual but watching everything closely. My mother smiled politely, clearly still processing everything from the day before. My father looked more serious, the kind of serious he usually saved for big meetings. Uncle Manuel took his seat in the back, hands folded, sharp-eyed, and still skeptical. Tina gave me a small nod from behind the projector screen. Everything was ready. I stepped forward, took a breath, and began. "I want to thank you all for being here," I said. "I know yesterday came as a surprise. I didn't plan to keep everything a secret forever, but once it started, it became easier to just keep going quietly. Now, I want to tell you the whole story." The screen came alive with the first image, me at 24, sitting on the floor of my shared apartment in East Austin, surrounded by sketches, tools, and half-eaten takeout. I was thinner, tired, but so determined. The room was quiet.
"This was week 1?" I said.
I'd just left San Antonio. No job lined up. No investors. Just an idea and a lot of stubbornness. Then came the first house design, hand-drawn blueprints for a sustainable tiny home. The screen flicked through photos of my first real project, 10 homes for a small community outside Dallas. I built every system myself: solar panels, gray water reuse, recycled materials. I stayed up for nights running wiring and laying insulation with my own hands. "That contract was worth $120,000, I said. "It changed everything. That's when I knew I could do this for real." Zoe shifted slightly in her seat. My father didn't move, but I could feel his attention sharpen. Good. The presentation moved through time, year by year. I told them how I reinvested every cent back into the business. How I lived like I was broke, even when I wasn't. I didn't tell anyone how much I was making, I said. Not because I was ashamed, but because I wanted to grow without pressure, without being told I was lucky or naive or too ambitious. Then came the hard parts, the nights I nearly quit, the partners who backed out, the banks that refused me loans because I didn't have a man on my executive team. People said I was dreaming too big, but I didn't care. I believed in it. I believed in myself. The screen showed articles from green tech journals, contracts with cities, photos of families moving into their new eco-homes. A graph appeared showing our growth, slow at first, then exponential. I turned to face them again. 12 years ago, I asked for an investment, $250,000, I said, looking directly at my father. "You told me it wasn't practical, that I should come work for your company instead." He held my gaze but didn't speak. That same investment would be worth $62 million today. Zoe's eyes widened. My mother gasped softly. I clicked to the next slide, a news clipping of a military base powered entirely by Kavra's tech. "Uncle Manuel," I said, "your old base? They just adopted our newest solar grid. 92% reduction in fossil fuel use." He gave a slow nod, lips pressed tight. "That's impressive," he said quietly. Then I paused the screen. "All of this happened while you believed I was struggling. All of this was built during the years you thought I couldn't hold a steady job." My voice didn't shake. I wasn't angry. I wasn't there to shame them. I just wanted them to see. I let you underestimate me. I let you feel superior. I didn't do it to trick you. I did it to protect what I was building. The silence that followed was heavy but not cold. It was filled with realization. My mother stood slowly and came over to me, her hands slightly trembling. "You should have told us," she said, voice soft. "But I understand why you didn't. I'm proud of you, Elena." I smiled. "Thanks, Mom." Zoe looked down at the folder in her lap, the one comparing her yearly income to what I made in a week. She didn't speak, but her eyes were wet. My father rose from his seat and approached me slowly. "I didn't believe," he said. "I thought I was protecting you. From disappointment. From the world." "I know," I replied. "But I didn't need protection. I needed belief." He looked like he might speak again, but stopped. Instead, he handed me a folded piece of paper. "I wrote this morning," he said. "Don't open it now. Just keep it." I took it gently, feeling the weight of those years between us. That evening, As the sky turned amber over the ocean, I sat alone with a glass of wine, watching the water. For so long, I imagined how this moment would feel, being seen, being understood. And now that it was here, it didn't feel like victory. It felt like finally coming home. The next morning, I woke early. The island was quiet, still wrapped in that soft hush just before sunrise. I sat on the edge of the villa deck, barefoot, watching the waves roll in. A warm breeze brushed over my skin, and for a long time, I just sat there, breathing, thinking, feeling everything settle. I hadn't opened the note my father gave me the day before. It was still folded in my pocket, a little worn at the edges now. I didn't need to read it right away. It was enough to know he'd written it at all. By mid-morning, everyone had gathered again, this time in the main hall for one last family meeting. This wasn't a presentation. No charts, no videos. Just us. The people I had spent a lifetime trying to make proud, finally seeing me for who I really was. Zoe was the first to speak. She sat across from me, legs crossed, arms resting on her lap instead of crossed in judgment, like usual. "I've been thinking a lot," she said slowly, "about how I saw you. I was so sure I had my life figured out, and you were just figuring things out too. I thought I was helping you. I didn't realize I was just comforting myself." I smiled softly. "I never resented you, Zoe. I let you believe what you needed to." "But why didn't you ever say anything?" she asked. "Because I was building something delicate," I said. "And sometimes the loudest noise comes from the people closest to you." I couldn't afford to be distracted by doubt, even if it came with love. My mother wiped her eyes with a tissue. She had barely spoken all morning, but I knew she was feeling everything. When she finally looked at me, her voice was quiet but steady. "I thought I was helping by worrying, but I see now, I should have listened more and doubted less." "I always knew you meant well, Mom," I said. "But what I needed back then wasn't a plan. It was space. And faith." Then it was my father's turn. He looked older than I remembered, maybe not in years, but in weight. He reached into his shirt pocket, pulled out the folded note, and held it up. "Can I read it now?" I asked. He nodded. I unfolded the paper slowly. His handwriting was familiar, strong but careful. It read, "Elena, I was wrong. Not just about your idea, but about how I saw you. I tried to shape you into what I understood, and I failed to understand what you were becoming. I see it now. I see you. I'm sorry. Dad." I looked up at him. He didn't say anything else. He didn't have to. That afternoon, I took them on a final tour of the island. We visited the design labs, where we were testing new eco-materials. We walked through the prototype village we'd built, where everything from water to air was regulated by clean tech systems. They saw the community programs, the outreach plans, the training centers. It wasn't just about houses. It was about a new way of living. And they were part of it now, whether they knew it or not. As the sun dipped low again, we gathered for the final dinner. It wasn't grand, just grilled vegetables, handmade bread, and fresh juice under the stars. The kind of meal that didn't need to impress because the moment was already full. "I'm not angry anymore," I said as we finished eating. "I used to imagine this moment as a revenge fantasy, me, rich and powerful, proving everyone wrong. But it doesn't feel like that now. It feels peaceful." Uncle Manuel, who'd stayed mostly silent the entire trip, raised his glass. "You did something none of us expected. But more importantly, you did it your way. That's rare. And damn impressive." Zoe laughed quietly. "Can we visit again? Or is this just a one-time surprise I'm a billionaire moment?" I chuckled. "The island will always be here. So will I." When the helicopters came the next morning, I stood at the helipad as they boarded. My mother hugged me tighter than she had in years. Zoe whispered, "I'm actually jealous of you now, just so you know." I grinned. "That's fair." My father lingered before stepping onto the helicopter. "You've changed everything," he said. "No," I replied. "I just showed you what was always there." As the blades started spinning and they lifted off, I stood watching them go, my family flying away a little quieter, a little more thoughtful than when they arrived. And I stood there, rooted in everything I had built. Not just an island, not just a business, but a truth, a legacy, and finally, a voice that no one could ignore.